Welcome to the WARMUP Podcast. This is episode 3 of season 1. I am here today with my guest, Sean Tomey. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I know only a little bit about your background. I know that you played professional hockey, but I don't follow hockey per se. So tell me a little bit more about what that was, your history.
So I grew up, born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota. Played college hockey for the University of Minnesota Duluth. After high school, which I was at Cretin, now it's Cretin-Derham, the Minnesota North Stars drafted me 7th round in the 1983 NHL entry draft. And I went and did all 4 years at UMD. And then afterwards, they came to me and offered me a contract. I signed that contract, and most of my time was in the minor leagues, American Hockey League, brief stint in the NHL, AHL, IHL at the time. And then played a couple years here, and then I went overseas in Finland and Sweden and played 3-4 years over there before officially hanging it up and coming back to the States and becoming part of the rise and grind crowd, the everyday working kind of thing.
How was that transition for you, leaving being an elite athlete to going to rise and grind, if you will?
It's a completely different lifestyle, right? I mean, you in hockey mainly have your summers off. They're not off per se because you're, working out, skating, training, getting ready for the following season. To now, I'm getting up and I'm actually having to sell a product other than just me. It was an interesting transition, but I think college prepared me for that on the education side of it. So the other biggest part is you have to be, or most athletes, you have to be ready to make that transition. And if you're not ready to make that transition, it's going to be difficult because you're going to fight it. I knew I was done playing hockey, and I had made that decision. So that transition became easier for me in terms of, hey, this is what I got to do. Now I got to go be successful here. How do I do that?
Right. So what exactly do you do now for your work?
So now I am national account manager for Inks International. We are a manufacturer of industrial printing inks. So basically walk into a grocery store, you see the bags, boxes, labels, all the products on the shelf. We generally are selling the ink to the printers that would print those products.
Okay.
Inks International is the largest metal decorating ink supplier. So just about every aluminum can that you see, Coke, Pepsi, Budweiser, probably has our ink on it. I don't deal in that space. I'm more in a different space with that, but that's what I do now.
Okay. And you've been doing that since you left?
Since I got out of hockey, yes.
Okay. How is training in hockey versus working out now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because I was thinking along the lines of, dealing with some of the guys that I deal with now. One of my part-time deals is I do agent advisor work. So I'm still working with hockey players, still coach. They train completely different today than how I did in college and after. It was kind of an old school, hey, today I'm gonna bench press, and then I'm gonna do squats, and then I'm gonna go skate. Everything involved you going and skating afterwards or on those kinds of days. Some cardio, but the types of HIIT training that you guys do now or that's been kind of going on really wasn't kind of there. There was a guy, Jack Blatherwick, who was sort of on the cusp of doing some of that stuff. But it was I would call it grunt training. You picked up a weight, it was curls for the girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. The old beach kind of maybe workout, but training now, the diet wasn't what they are today. The supplements, the proteins and different things that you can take for gut health and just overall general health, no one was really doing that. I think it started to come on maybe mid to late 2000s, in terms of that. There might have been an odd few guys doing kind of those things, but today, diet, training, no comparison to what it was late 80s, mid 80s.
So it's more like the squat, bench, deadlift, the essential lifts, and then skating for cardio.
Skating for your cardio, running a little bit, some sprint work, but no, nothing like dynamic band work. I mean, we used to stretch on the ice, which made no sense to us.
That
we're trying
treacherous.
to warm up our body, and we're stretching on a cold slab of ice. Mm-hmm. So I mean, today where you see band work, foam roller work, cardio, be it whether it's an elliptical or treadmill. I mean, that was it. You showed up, a couple of toe touches, over the head stretches, and off you went.
And you didn't have any injuries or anything during your career, no?
Other than many stitches to the face, that kind of stuff, I was fortunate to didn't lose any teeth, knocked a few loose, broken thumb and a broken collarbone, and wear and tear on the body where now at 58, it hurts a little bit some days to get up and, get off the couch and do stuff, but
it's relatable.
Yeah. I mean, there are, like, my son who played professional baseball, he was a catcher. The wear and tear on him, he's feeling that a lot more at a younger age than I am, and he even trained differently than I did. So he caught some of the nuances of the new eras of training. So
okay, for your son, is it more like shoulder things being?
Shoulders, neck, as a catcher. I mean, he took a lot of, foul balls, collisions. They don't, of course, nearly have the padding that, a hockey player or a football player might have. Right. And in knees, just from being in the crouch position all the time. So, I mean, for him, he took very good care of, like his knees, ankles, feet, quads, glutes, that was in his core. That was the whole thing. He actually then, after he got done, he did get into some sort of the, powerlifting, bodybuilding kind of deal, and then got married and had children, and that kind of
subsided.
Had to be a dad. He had to be a dad.
We've got to choose our priorities, right?
Right. It's great. So
I met you at the gym currently, and you've been training there for how long?
I started, I think, last year in October.
Okay.
End of October, mid-October. I didn't even know that gym existed till a mutual friend of Monte Bailey's and myself, I had called him because I wanted to get back into more serious conditioning training, and because what I'd been doing after wasn't really working anymore. And so he introduced me to Monte, and then I remember when I showed up over there at the gym, I'm like, I had no idea this even existed.
And do you find working out now, post-athleticism or being a pro athlete in just a different stage of life, what do you feel is different now with your focus and intention?
I'm not training for the longevity of a season where you would maybe necessarily say just kind of in an old school fashion, I'm going to come in slightly overweight but in good shape, and I'm going to play myself into better shape. Where now I look at it as I'm training for life. I'm looking at it, and I wish that I had done that sooner. Then I wouldn't have taken the time off when I got done playing. I wish I would have kept up on some of that, where that takes place. So, right now it's the training is I want to be able to do things. I want to continue to play golf. I want to skate. And I don't want to be, I can't get out, or I can't go do this anymore. And of course you want some physical attributes, the appearance, you want to be in shape and, and get a better diet, and learn how to do those different things and what does it all mean. So I'm starting a little later, but that's basically what, and I'm, to be real honest with you, I want to be pushed again. And I haven't been, I'm pushed in business. Mm-hmm. That is, you want to pay the bills, you got to get pushed. And
correct.
Afterwards, it's like, it's just not the same anymore. You know what I mean? I don't feel on an individual basis. So I think having a trainer and a coach there to do these kinds of things, show you your forms right, push you to work harder, push you to do 1 more, 2 more, 5 more reps is very important, because I wasn't doing that when it was just my own. It was like, I got to 10, I'm done.
Yeah, you set the number. You don't push past that.
You don't, and you don't train differently. You're not
different stimulus.
Exactly. You're being pushed in a different manner, and I kind of miss that. I've been doing the coaching for all these kids, and now it's like I want to get back and I want to do it, and so I want to be pushed and coached, and Monte does that, and I see you doing that with your clients too in the gym. I mean, you encourage them, you're pushing them, and you really have an understanding of what their basic level of capability is, and you're bringing them up to it and pushing them past it, and you can see them, they want to come back and they want more, because your body's changing, and not only that, but your mindset on life changes.
Absolutely. It definitely translates across everything else you do.
Right.
The discipline, everything else. In business, in your home life, I feel like it does transcend. What is the biggest thing that you've noticed since you started training with a trainer? And
two things. My energy level's way up. I'm not lethargic in that kind of, and my appetites come back. I didn't believe necessarily with what he wanted me to eat that I could eat that. And it's tough some days, but I can do that. And then just understanding how that all works together, and now picking it, and like being taught, like, hey, you know what you should eat, you know what you shouldn't eat, and you just stay away from those types of foods, and you're staying more in the food groups that are recommended by yourself, the trainers, and how to do it, and it's just understanding how it's kind of working. So my overall energy level and enthusiasm for, I want to come back, I want to do more, I see things happening, I feel good about it, and it's fun. Plus, it's a great environment to be in there. It's very motivating, watching everybody work very hard and take great pride and passion in what is their body and their life, and wanting to be the best version of themselves that they can be.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I feel like the people that go there and just are focused on what they're doing, and that's basically it. Whatever it's a long-term goal, and a lot of my clients personally are training I have a couple that don't want to be frail at some point. They want to make sure that they're stronger, getting older with hormones and everything else changing. But I do agree with you on all of those points. Do you feel like you're eating more now than you've eaten before? When you said that it's hard.
It's hard. I mean, it's then I mix in the travel for work. So like I'll travel 3 days, sometimes 4 days a week. And it was very easy to fall into the habit of, you're a traveling salesman. I hate to use that connotation, but that's what I do. Mm-hmm. You're the guy sitting at the bar, and it's a burger and fries and a beer or a pizza. I did that. I mean, when I got done and I was out there, it was like, this will come off me, but no, it doesn't. And all of a sudden you look one day in the mirror and you're like, this isn't me. And how do I get that back? And where does it start? What does it look like? When I'm home, it's very easy to do the meal prep and all of that. When I'm on the road working, and especially if I have to take a client out or do that, of course, alcohol gets in the way. And it's easy, sometimes they don't want to eat that way, or it's like, you go, I'll have the steak, I'll have the asparagus, no potato. Mm-hmm. Or, lesser on the carbohydrates, or, I'll have a glass of wine and not 10 beers, 10 beer, as my Canadian friends would say. So that can be a challenge in itself. And then just getting up and going, all right, I got to eat this. And then, all right, how do I, when I'm at a customer, how do I get something, you know? So a lot of restaurants look at you funny, like, hey, just give me some chicken breast and some rice, you know, and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, just to go. But I think there's a lot of my guys that work for me or make ink on site, some of them are into the weightlifting and the training, and they get it, you know, and you can see those lunches that they have when they bring it. So, I mean, it's kind of cool to see that. That's like, all right, it's a way for me to kind of identify with them too, as opposed to, hey, I'm kind of your boss. And I mean, you know, when they look at it, it's like, well, hey, how was training this week? What are you going to do? And so it's kind of fun to talk about those things with them too, you know, not just work, but
it creates camaraderie.
It does. It's, I mean, people, when you look at it in the gym, that's a whole community.
It is, for sure.
One that I didn't know existed because I just trained with hockey players or the football teams.
But also that was your community then too.
That was exactly. So you're right, it was. But I mean, now being done with it, I mean, that's a huge community. I mean, it's really fun to be a part of, even though you might be walking in there and no one knows who you are, or I don't know who they are. There's a camaraderie and there's a companionship in there.
And there's familiarity. Even if you don't talk to people, they recognize you. Mm-hmm. For sure.
They'll say hi, you know, it's a different deal. It's fun.
It is definitely. Do you, you were saying on the road, are you able to prep food to bring with you, or that's difficult?
That part is difficult because I fly most everywhere I go.
Okay.
So if I was driving, it'd be easy to pack a cooler, you know, and do something like that. It's, you know, Chipotle's become my friend a little bit, right? With, hey, they have chicken rice or steak and rice, and you skip the cheese, you skip the sour cream, and, you know, I mean, you need some of the good fat, like some avocado and that. But, and then I find I'm going to the grocery store, you know, and I'm buying a grilled chicken breast or, you know, a steak or something. And, you know, most of the places have microwaves that I stay. So it's like, I'll grab a bag of frozen green beans and that I can steam and microwave. And,
makes it easy.
Makes it easy. You know, so you're doing a little bit of that, and it's,
it does save you money too.
It does.
Because then you're not spending it on the alcohol. You're not spending it on the lavish meals except for when you're entertaining.
Exactly. And it also makes you more self-conscious when you're out. Even if you are by yourself, it's like, okay, I don't need to have a wine, or I don't need to have a vodka soda or beer. I mean, I just have water, you know, just drink water.
Do you work out when you train or when you travel?
I do. Monte's got some off-day stuff for me that he's provided, which, be honest with you, when I first looked at it, I'm like, well, this isn't much, you know what I mean? But what I do when I'm with him, or what you do when you're with your clients, the off-day stuff, it's kind of a relief. It's kind of, you're still stimulating your body, you're still getting it to go, but you're kind of helping it recover with what he's having you do, and you're getting lactic acid out and stretching things back out. So, I mean, I will, on an off day in the hotel, I will make sure I'm doing something.
That probably helps you feel better, like taking care of yourself prior to like dealing with customers or whatever, your meetings and whatnot.
Can be a good stress relief too from a long day with them.
True.
So it can happen.
I'm going to go to the gym now.
Right.
I will see you tomorrow.
Right. Yep. I'm done for the day. I'm turning off the phone, and
I'm going
to go do a workout and, you know, go watch a hockey game, which is what I did last night. I was in Green Bay last night. I went to a nice restaurant. I had a steak. I think it was Brussels sprouts, and I asked them not to put any of the stuff on them.
Like no cheese or sauce.
No cheese and sauce. And guy looks at me kind of.
Are you crazy?
Are you know, and then, you know, like, do you want anything to drink? No, I'll just have water. Thanks. I'm good. I'm just going to watch the hockey game. And I ate, and, you know, and people are like kind of looking at you like, you see the sides of potatoes and the salads and he's like, do you want bread? I'm like, no, I don't want any bread. And it's like, I do want bread, but I
want
don't.
it, need it, you know.
Right. Exactly.
I'm choosing not to have it. I feel like there's a health shaming or like fit shaming when you're ordering like that sometimes. So in restaurants, either people around you, sometimes the waiters will look at you like there's something wrong with you.
Right. It's, they ask like, well, their first thing that they look at or ask is like, well, is there a health thing that I should be aware of?
Like a gluten intolerance or something, right?
You know, and they should ask you that when they first start waiting on you. Like, is there any allergies or anything that I should be aware of? And but when you just say, no, I just want a steak, or I just want a few sliced tomatoes and a chicken breast and avocado on the side, and they're like, what's the matter with you?
Right.
That's a weird diet. But there has been some cases where I've been out, and again, it would be the younger crowd that kind of recognizes that, and where they'll ask me a question like, why are you doing this? And I said, well, it's kind of the nutrition program, from my trainer that I'm doing. And they're like, that is such a cool lunch. I'm going to have that. Whether they do or they don't, but I mean, at least so there's more of it on the shaming side of it, kind of looking at you, than it is on the positive side. But, I've had many people criticize what I've done before in the past, and it's all about what makes you work.
Correct. The external doesn't really matter so much, but I do notice that too when I'm out and order simple, just plain, no drinks or whatever. There's questions, but I have noticed, like you said, the younger generation is a lot more receptive and curious and less judgmental.
Right. Some of my older customers, like when we go to lunch and they think they're being health conscious, they order a salad, but they've got a mound of blue cheese and French dressing that they put on it. And it's like,
sure. And probably the salad is probably like iceberg lettuce, which is just water.
Right. And so, or maybe some hearts of romaine or something along those lines. It's not spinach or kale or, and then they look at you like if you order a ground beef patty with no bread, no cheese, and just say, yeah, you can put a little bit of, I'll take a tomato slice, and can you give me an avocado and something along those lines? And they look at you like, what is that?
Correct.
And like, oh, come on.
We'll just have some of this.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of them get it, from some of my past, and some of that. But for the most part, yeah, they kind of, I'm sure they're going back in the room like, what is he doing? You should just be on this side of the mountain. It's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not tumbling down the other side of the mountain.
You've made a decision.
I've made a decision, and I want to stay on the mountain. I don't want to fall off it yet.
So this is a long-term commitment that you've made to yourself.
Right. It's, I think it probably better than others, where doing the shows and doing the fitness competitions that you've done, and probably will do more in the future, how hard it is to get that and to get that look. And it's, to me, that's no different than how a hockey player works or a goaltender works at stopping pucks, or a catcher works on framing the ball or receiving the ball. And football players, quarterbacks, receivers, any athlete, you're an athlete. And you're perfecting but what you're presenting is your body.
Correct.
And so I think in some of those cases, that's a lot harder, because I'm covered up under a jersey, right, and a helmet. And you and men that go out and do it, it's
next to nothing.
You're next to nothing. And and you're showing off how well have I done my biceps, my quadriceps, and every little nook and cranny is evaluated by somebody. And so in a lot of cases, I think that type of work is a lot harder than what I have done, for sure, ever, to get prepared for a hockey season. And I don't know if I have the wherewithal or the discipline to do that. You
mean you don't want to be a bodybuilder?
No.
You sure?
I'm sure. I wouldn't mind getting, which I'm working on in a few different areas, and But I don't, I guess, I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. You're right. But I just don't, at this particular juncture, no, probably not.
So as of now, we're going to say no, but
there's always
never say never.
Never say never. Never say never. Exactly. There's still a chance.
And I've seen bodybuilders up into their 80s. So
well, so you're saying I have a chance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, you're only 58, so
right.
You've got time.
I've got time, and I've got a good start with.
You've got a great coach.
Everybody over there doing that stuff. So it's and it's fun to, like I said, it's very fun to do it and see your body change. And it was, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of glad the plane was a little bit delayed. Monte really ripped into my lower half on.
I saw that.
Was it Tuesday? No, Monday. Monday. And it hurt to sit and stand up, but it's a good feeling. And
I embrace that pain. I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but I feel like if I push and I have that pain, that it's almost like a badge of honor.
Exactly. It's like when you get done, we're kind of both laughing, and I'm sure you say the same thing to your clients. It's like, oh my God. And he's like, you're welcome. Mm-hmm. And we're laughing about it, yes. Kind of, it's like, I'm not going to get the exhilaration of being in front of 10, 12, whatever thousands of fans would be at any particular game that those days are gone. So the feeling of pushing yourself and that kind of pain and exhilaration and the results is fun. I mean, it's, and to have that with that relationship with the, like you guys in there that get it, you're doing it too. And it's not a bad moping, like, oh gosh, I don't want to do this again. It's like, you're like, damn you for doing this to me, but thank you.
Right. Well, you're in the struggle. In the moment, it's not pleasant, but then when you get through it, you're like, I did that.
Well, exactly. And I'm getting to the point now where we're back to it. I had a hernia, so I had to have that repaired. So I lost 5 weeks, and I was really, really hitting kind of a good stride, both not with working out and eating and doing all that. So a little bit of a setback, but a slow climb getting back into this. But as an athlete, I get mad if he says, hey, I need you to do 15, or we're going to do this for 15. And then all of a sudden I can't, I'm at 12. And it's like, why in the F can I not? I mean, and I'm getting mad at myself, and he's like, no, just, take a breath, get your heart rate down, do this, do that, and get back into it. And it's like, but the competitive side of you is like, push, just do it. And then you've got somebody there that, again, that kind of that performance enhancement situation is like, he's telling me what to do. So I want to make sure that I'm doing what he's asking me to do, and I'm completing that. And when you can't, you feel like I've kind of let him down. You know what I mean? And it's like, so you're right. You're just basically pushing yourself. But
also, I feel like the misconception is when you work path to failure is, oh, I failed. But it's actually a great place to be.
Right, and I'm learning that.
Yes.
And so that's where if I don't score a goal, I failed. It's different. And so I'm the assimilation of, hey, I didn't get to 15 reps. It's not failure. You did 12.
You did 12 and
10, whatever the number was.
Worked to the point where your body couldn't do it anymore, and that's a really great place to be.
Correct. And so I'm basically it's a retraining of your brain. So going back into the gym, like doing that and having a coach like yourself or Monte, you're resetting your mind, So I mean, I know it's not for everybody, but everybody that I talk to, it's like, it doesn't matter. They're not going to tell you to go lift 400 pounds or, they're going to dedicate and dictate a program that befits you and what your goals are and what you want.
It's not cookie cutter.
It's not. It's
everybody's
individual.
Different. Yeah.
It's individual. And I don't do the same thing we might do some of the same exercises, maybe not put together the same way. Mm-hmm. So and like I said to a lot of other people, I mean, they're professionals in how they're stacking these days and stacking your upper half and your lower half, or combining things with cardio or not. It's really unique, and I've told Monte this many times. I haven't done this. I mean, you wouldn't think that leg curls or step ups in the way that he has you do them are gonna kind of get your heart rate up, and then you get kind of a different setup over there, and then how important it is to get your food after you're done, and not just think, I guess, what is it? The old adage is you can't out exercise a bad diet.
You cannot.
You cannot,
nope. And
especially at my age.
You also need to refuel and feed yourself if you're trying to build muscle. So
right.
And nutrient timing is essential.
It is. It's incredible how that is all gets put together. And again, like I go back, and it's when you see multiple people in there that what they've done and how they've gotten to that point. I mean, it's not easy. And
that goes back to you saying you have more energy, you don't feel lethargic. It all coincides with everything that you just said.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. Well, I thank you.
Thank you
for being here. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add today.
No, other than I'm thankful that I was introduced to Monte, got to meet you, and now get to be a part of this, which is a lot of fun. And maybe someday I'll get to be back on again. And
I would love that.
So yes, thanks. It was fun.
I appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you again for joining us today on the WARMUP Podcast. Stay tuned, and we hope to see Sean again.